men in the world. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Samuels. How are you?
I am well. How old are you?
33.
All right. What's the issue with this ranking thing? Why is it such a problem?
I think before it was a problem because we didn't think about how men were ranking, how we were making men. Most women don't rank men compared to looks, but when you said that we go off their finances and they go off our looks, that makes sense.
You said that women don't rank. You don't rank according to looks.
Meaning we don't really, a woman will date a man who doesn't look like how you're giving us a
Oh
scale
yeah,
as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as the
Okay,
no
yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah. But women do recognize looks in other women.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, most, as you can see, women will date a man with nice finances, even if they're older, 20 years older, as long as they have money.
Yeah,
So
because you ugly, but you ain't ugly because you got money.
Right. But that doesn't mean, and I think that's why people were getting offended, because they were like, well, but that doesn't mean that's how a man is ranking us. So if a
And
man is ranking,
what that's called is attraction symmetry.
mm-hmm.
Women think that the things they find attractive in a man are the things that men find attractive in a woman, and that's not close to being the case.
So I think that's where the people were getting off on the whole ranking thing. You guys don't rank us the same as how we might rank a man. Because as you can see, with 20 kids and people that don't care.
No, I mean, they're very popular rappers who have children everywhere.
Right.
But I will also say that this notion that beauty is universal and it's subjective and there's no standard. Do you think there's a standard for beauty?
For sure. I think there's a standard. I'm in the beauty industry, so I do definitely think there's a standard for beauty. When I don't know, I guess because I like Sweetie, and of course, I feel like also women rank women differently. So
Yes.
we're not men. So of course I'm a rank. I think Sweetie's very pretty, but like how you gave her a 6, but you're a man, so you know what a man would look for. I'm a woman.
An adjustable
So,
6. I gave her cute to pretty.
right.
But my question is, where would Sweetie be on the continuum of other women?
Mm-hmm.
So the most beautiful women, so women who are 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where would she be? It doesn't. See, it almost says the way people responded was almost like I called Sweetie ugly, and I'm like, no,
Right.
she's just not going to be considered at the top end of the continuum.
Right, and that was just solely on looks though, because she don't have kids and she's in body too. So
well, and it was just on looks, and
so I know.
don't. But and I
Like,
don't get into whether or not plastic surgery or anything. It's none of that.
yeah.
But my thing is, at some point, women have to realize that, okay, just like there was an Instagram model the other day who got beat up and assaulted because she's attractive. When I was in high school, there was a group of women called the Hoe Busters. Okay. The Hoe Busters was a bunch of women that looked like MC Rage. You ever see Friday? You know, Baby D, Afro Puffs, Big Old Girl. There was a group of women that used to run around Oklahoma City called the Hoe Busters. And what they would do is they would go around high school to high school and fuck up, beat up the prettiest girl at the school, cut her hair, bust her lip. They call themselves the Hoe Busters. They were known for that. They were notorious, a roving band of women that would just go look at the prettiest girl and beat her up. They terrified women across, and that still exists.
Right.
Why? But you look at the Hoe Busters, and it was all they look like a mess. A bunch of Mack truck looking, Timberland wearing.
Mack. Why they
just because they look like a bunch of women who drive Mack trucks. They were. When I say Hoe Busters, does that make you think of a prim, proper, pretty woman, or do you think of a big ass, almost a butch lesbian dude? And why were they doing it? Jealousy.
Right. I get it. I agree with a lot of stuff you say. I'd already reposted. I'd be getting slack from when you be calling people the bonnet gang. I agree.
But they don't have to come on here in bonnets.
I agree.
If you're in the beauty industry, you know that there are people who sit in your chair. Do you do makeup or hair?
I do hair.
Okay. There are people who sit in your table, in your chair, whose hair you have to do more work with, and people who have to do less with. If there's a makeup artist, there are people who have to do more work with, and there are people who have to do less work with. Some people are more naturally attractive, naturally a different grade of hair. We accept that, but why can't we accept it? I had women sit here and say, I am on this level. And when I put the poll out, I'm on Beyonce's level, and I only put the poll up. People in there saying, lady, you're confused, but it's because of our self-esteem.
Right.
Lastly, I would tell ladies this.
Somebody that's dark-skinned that you would put in the same as Beyonce?
Kelly Rowland is dark-skinned, and I rank her higher.
You think so?
I always rank Kelly Rowland higher. See, when they come at my standard, they always try to say European standard, and I rank women, black women against black women of the 70s.
Yeah, got that too. But then also, I agree with the European standard. We wear weave and eyelashes, so you can't say European standard and have European features. Like European additives.
Well, they try to use the colorist argument, and no, Kelly Rowland has always been more attractive than Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Diane Carroll, she was a caramel complected sister. It's not a matter of skin tone. What it comes down to is a lot of women who really want to rank higher than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than when I have the high value men conversation. And you watch it. When I have the high value men conversation, you can set your clock. There are going to be men who call in, who call themselves high value men, who don't make $10,000 a month, but they'll tell you why they're high value in spite of the money. And I'm sorry, high value is not my thing, and it does have a financial component to it. But when I used to talk to men would do the same thing. I'm a high value man because I'm this. How much you make a month? I ain't got that 6 figures. How much you make? 50,000. You're not a high value man at $50,000.
Right. So
and I don't make those rules. Go ahead.
Is it okay? So considering if you're a high value woman and you still want that, and you have kids, because I have 2 kids.
Okay.
I make 6 figures, maybe a little more.
Okay. What's the question?
What is my question? How can I say it? I always had a list of questions. I ain't never think I was gonna make it on here, Mr. Samuels. So just considering, so if you're saying like most high value men want somebody that's fit, no kids.
Mm-hmm. In general,
look at
feminine, friendly, cooperative. Men in general don't, but individual men might.
Individual men.
You have to, but the thing is, you want to be a wife?
Okay, so I'm about to give you an argument, right? So I want to be a wife, but I don't want no man with kids, even though I got kids.
That's crazy.
I know. But I don't have.
Why don't you want a man with kids? And do you have primary custody? Do you have primary custody?
Do I have primary custody? Yes, I do. It's not the kids. I'm fine with kids. I don't like the baby mama drama. I don't have that.
Children. How many fathers do you have?
1.
And where is he?
Incarcerated.
For the rest of his life?
Not for the rest of his life, no. But he's married.
Doesn't matter. Still could be drama.
You think so? I don't think so. I've never had.
He's alive. He's alive.
But I've never had with him.
But he's alive.
Correct.
So you don't want a man with kids because you don't want to deal with possible drama, but you want a man of high value men to deal with a woman with kids from a man who's in jail.
I know. Yep. That's unlogical, huh?
Illogical. Yeah, to make no. But why do you need a quote unquote high value man?
Oh no, I don't need one. I just feel like.
Okay. So you'd be all right. You'd be all right with a man making $45,000 a year for the rest of his life. That's $20. That's $22 an hour. $22.50 an hour.
That made that, and that wasn't the issue. His issue was I made more money. I never.
I'm asking if you would be all right with that.
Yeah, as long as he was actually a man in other features. I don't want to have to ask you to take out the trash. I don't want to, like manly stuff. I don't care if your finances ain't as up there. My ex-husband didn't make that much money, but then he had a problem with the money I was spending, even though I was paying.
How long were you married?
For 3 years.
And you don't have children with him?
No.
And you divorced him?
Yes.
On what grounds?
On what grounds did I divorce him?
Mm-hmm.
We just wasn't getting along.
What does that mean?
Just meaning arguments about money. Him not understanding me, I guess, spending money. He wanted to dictate everything, which I still don't understand. I don't know. So if I'm a
Hold
high
on, hold on, hold on. Okay, high rank, high value women. It has nothing to do with money.
mm-hmm.
See, what you see with it? You were married to a man who was willing to accept your 2 children.
And I accepted his too.
Okay. But then he made less than you.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted to control how the family finances flow.
Yes, but poorly.
Why?
Like not paying rent on time, not paying bills on time, that type of stuff.
So he had 100% control of the family finances, and he didn't pay rent.
I wouldn't say he had 100% because I couldn't trust him with 100% with my money too, because then the rent wouldn't have been paid if I was giving him full control.
There's so many things wrong with this situation. So many things. Number one, it doesn't sound like he was a husband. It sounded like he was a boyfriend with a marriage certificate.
Okay. I agree.
Because there are plenty of a man is supposed to be in charge of the finances, even if you see that's one of the fallacies. I'm gonna move from you to talk to the audience. One of the things women often come on here and say is, I wouldn't mind a man making less than me as long as he's a man. And I say, well, you would mind. So your check would go into the account, his check going into the account. He could administer completely. Well, no. Well, then that's what it's supposed to happen, because a man's mind is more logical and this and that, just because you happen to earn more money. But if you want a man to be in control, and see, that's what's supposed to happen. But at the end of the day, you are really, what it sounds like is, you had your money and he couldn't do things the way you thought they should be done.
Right.
That's fine. That's a single woman's mindset.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of things that I did in my marriage that I definitely wouldn't do.
When I say, well, why'd you divorce? You said because you couldn't get along. And you couldn't get along because you just disagreeable.
No, we definitely couldn't get along.
I know, but is it because you couldn't get along, or is it, have you ever been able to get along with a man?
Yes.
For what length of time?
What's
the longest relationship you've ever had with a man?
My marriage was probably my longest relationship.
How long was that? How long was that?
Years.
3?
Yes. But prior to, I never wanted to, I came from, none of my people are married, so I never wanted to even be married.
Thank you. So disagreeableness is a masculine trait.
It is.
Feminine women, beautiful, inspirational women rank high in agreeableness. You're not a very agreeable woman. Okay. Women who lack agreeability are not good wives.
I agree.
So basically, you're looking for. And honestly, if I took your earning ability away from you, what would you be?
If you took my earning ability,
if I Thanos snapped your business away from you and made you, if I made you an average female earner in this country, $27,000 a year, boom, what would you be? Would you have all this at? Would you be?
I can still cook. I can still clean. I'm still nurturing. I feel like they're womanly things.
Right, but would you have the same level of bravado in a marriage that you did?
I feel like I would, because I would let him control the finances. The only reason why is because he wouldn't
I ask you, would you come into a marriage with the same level of bravado as a woman making $30,000 a year as a woman making over 100? Come on, Ma.
I don't know. I don't know. So you think I would? You think I wouldn't?
I think your money and your business puts you in your masculine energy.
It does, but you also have had women on here that didn't make money that thought
I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you. I'm asking you. I said, do you have the self-awareness to know that if I snapped your money and your business away, would that change how you would interact with a man? Because it would mean that you couldn't be as bossy. You need somebody to work with and depend on because you don't make enough money to take care of you and your kid and not need a man because he's over here.
Yep.
So that's fine. But a woman, so you come from women who aren't married, that's fine. This is why I say, no offense, man. This is why I say high value men, the women they tend to avoid: doctors, lawyers, hairstylists, makeup artists, actors, massage therapists, anything in the creatives, and what was the other one? And psychiatrists, anybody who counsels, because they, and I got this from men, and this is one of the problems, because hairstylists, by nature of the cost of what you do, you earn more money than barbers. It's not as though women who are stylists are more competent than barbers. It's just that a barber can't charge $300-$400 to cut somebody's hair. So it's not uncommon for a woman to be 25 years old who's a hairstylist making high 5 figures or 6 figures, and they start associating who they are with that money. That's fine.
Right.
You make enough money to where if you don't ever want to cooperate with a man, you should be able to live life to the end
without one.
Because well, but the thing is, you're 30 what?
33.
33. What you gonna do when you're 50 years old and men ain't trying to holler at you?
Right.
Because they will stop.
I get
and
it.
Your kids are out of the house, and you have no history of cooperating with the man or getting on the same page. So, and we all got here because you've been married, and you divorced your husband because y'all didn't get along, but you divorced him. He didn't divorce you. And how many kids did he have?
2.
And you had 2.
Yeah. And I was his third marriage too, though.
It doesn't matter. You picked him.
He picked
What's that supposed to mean? And he's your third marriage and your baby daddy in jail. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, see how we do that?
Right. So I got to be less masculine and be quiet to get a man.
Well, I would say what I'm getting from a lot of times women are masculine is because y'all driven by fear and scarcity. And the thing is, the kind of man that you would respect, the kind of man who could kind of control, would he want to deal with you?
Right.
What do you think?
The kind of man that I expect.
The kind of man that carried himself in a way that you would respect.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, do you want to have any more children?
I don't personally want to have any more children, but if I was with somebody that I felt like was gonna be in a I would have one for that person, I guess.
All right. And how much do you want your husband to make annually?
How much do I want him to make? I mean, at least $80,000. At least.
In what state?
I'm in Arizona right now.
So you want him to be in the top 15% of all men. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you want him to be childless. All right? So you want a childless man who's in the top 15% of all earners to marry a woman with 2 children from a man who's incarcerated, and as an upside, he might get a kid in the deal.
I mean, it's not a might if he want one.
Okay, but he also has 2 with you. See, my point is, you have little leverage in the open dating market from a sexual marketplace standpoint, but you're still wanting up here. And my point is, what does a man who's in the top 15% of earners want from a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Cooperation.
Okay.
And that is one thing you can honestly say you need work on.
Right.
So if he's not going to get cooperation, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
But I feel like my cooperation would be better with, I don't want to say that it's going to be better because he's high value, because I feel like my cooperation I was trying with my husband. I just felt like he wasn't leading. I don't know. So I think that's what made me a little bit more masculine, is because he was letting me.
Your cooperation would be better if he earned more money?
I don't know that. I'm assuming that probably has nothing to do with it.
Well,
but I'm just saying, even when I was trying to cooperate with my husband.
I asked that question for a reason. The video that brought me into most people's living room was average at best. And that was her thinking too. Every time I try to date down or do such and so forth with a man, it never worked. So I need a high value man, a man who makes more. And that's not how it works. It's not how it works. Go back and watch the average at best video, and you'll probably find a lot of things you're saying line up with that video. That's why I said it's not about her. This is about a mindset. And what it comes right down to is the kind of caliber of men that you ladies want. You don't know. You're not around them, and you typically don't know what they want. You just know that you would like a man like that.
Right.
And like men, and the thing is, these men want something. They want a woman that's cooperative. They want a woman that's cooperative and cooperative.
Okay, so
would you allow a man, would you allow a man, your husband, 100% access to all your finances?
My husband? Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead. What was your question?
I know you don't like getting into the whole European thing, but do you think that that's why those marriages are better, is because white women might be more cooperative, like more? Is that no?
I think it has nothing to do with being white. I mean, Hispanic women are more cooperative. Asian women are more cooperative. It's their culture.
It's their culture, but then they also, I feel like they're in the top percentages of earnings too, though, right?
That has nothing to do with
No.
Prior to 1965,
well, I'm just asking. I don't know. That's
prior to 1965, at the height of Jim Crow segregation and racism in this country, Black people were married at a rate of 80%. When we were at the financial bottom, we have a track record of being the most married people and the brokest, most oppressed people. The problem is Black women feel like you're in charge of Black men. You don't.
But
you need
back then, men were more in charge. They were more leaders. Whether they were or not, you don't think so? Prior to Jim Crow,
no.
Well, it was not. Women didn't have to be masculine back then.
Absolutely not. No. Stop. Put your dick up. This is your mom and them coming out. And don't tell me what they were. You're 33 years old. If you haven't done your work, you telling me what are you telling me?
No, so I'm saying you don't think men were more masculine back then than they are now?
Men in general, men worldwide were more masculine because we didn't have feminism. But see, the problem is Black women, your mother's generation and your grandmother's generation, they really failed you guys because they told you didn't need a man. So you can't.
Right.
Who raised these feminine, weak Black men that you have a problem with? Who raised them? Who raised them? 80% of Black children are born out of wedlock. Who raised them? Who?
We did.
Who's we?
My mom or whoever my grandparents did.
Black who?
Women.
Thank you. That's who raised them. You raised the very men you have a problem with. Black men are 51% childless, 64% in the middle class. And the problem keeps being that, well, the Black men back there were stronger. No, Black women, back then we had more of the law on our side. And we actually had more of a community. What happened, if you want the truth, was when the Great Society came in and Black women were given a choice between government assistance and your men, Black women chose government assistance. As Black male unemployment went down, Black female welfare enrollment went up. The government did not understand because they said this doesn't happen everywhere else. When male employment goes down, welfare goes down. But in the Black community, when Black male unemployment went down, Black female welfare went up. So that meant Black women were choosing welfare over their men. Black men were employed, able, but they were still choosing meager benefits over a man because at the end of the day, far too many Black women don't want to be told what to do. You can't fight that one because you know you don't like being told what to do.
I'm not disagreeing.
And that's it. And when we got that, when your mother and your grandmother and everybody else, generations of women not being told what to do. And here's the thing: you don't have to be told what to do, but you just better make sure you got enough money to get from 65 to 85 on your own without relying on your kids. Because unlike previous generations, my generations, even the guy you married, was he the same age as you are?
No, he was older.
Exactly. How much older?
7 years older.
Right. Black men aren't being stepfathers no more because they see that it doesn't work. What's the thankfulness you get out of being a stepfather? You still get blamed. That's why, just like you don't want to deal with baby mama drama, don't nobody want to deal with ungrateful baby mamas.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like it or not, our culture is not one that women feel like they need to do something for a man, compete for a man. There are women in this world, in this country right now, who earn 10 times what you do, who come home and submit to their men. But because you got a little bit more money, it's like a lot more attitude. And I get it, but the question is, what are you individual women going to do? Because at the end of the day, it's not working.
Right.
It's not working for your mother. It's not working for you if you want a different outcome. And that's what this show is about. Just questioning what you want. Because Brad, Lee, Ahmed, Enrique, non-black men, they ain't coming. They ain't dealing with this. So if you don't find a way to get on the page with a black man, what's the alternative?
A white man? No, I'm just playing.
No, white men ain't considering y'all.
I said I'm just playing, Mr. Samuels.
I know, but I have to say but a lot of them say to the white men, why ain't trying to deal with this stuff? They ain't trying to deal with all that attitude. You ain't seeing non-black men rush to black women and marry them in droves. So if you can't get on a page with a black man, what's the alternative?
Like you said, I'm gonna just have to make sure I got enough money to be alone.
Or you can get you a sister wife or a compound living, or get your niece and Nash on.
I can give me you think that might be better for me since I'm a little masculine. You think a woman?
I did it. Go on my Instagram page. It's on there right now.
I know. I
platonic
saw
marriage.
I want a man. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna start working on my cooperation.
Well, that's what I would think would make more sense. Because do you have sons?
I do.
Okay.
And that's what really, I think it's easier to listen to what you're saying as opposed to like when people are on here, because when you be talking to other people, I'll be like, no, you're right. And I can't remember what you were saying about who do we feel like being able to leave somebody, and we're the one breaking up the family even after we knew that this person was a cheater. And I really have to check myself, because even though we had problems, my son loved my husband. So I feel like I messed that up for him. So you're absolutely right.
The home wrecker thing?
Or that we were breaking our own homes by leaving because our feelings is hurt. But what about our children? What are we growing up? What are we bringing up in our household? Like back in the day, those women weren't leaving a man for cheating or for that type of stuff.
Finding a man
it's not about you no more.
Finding a man who is willing to be a stepfather is a big deal. That's why, and the reason women tend to do that more than anything else, because women have been told that men are easy to get and you can just drop one and get another one. That's not the case. But what I was going to say is I need you to understand too that the boys you're raising are going to have to deal with women like yourself.
Right.
So.
And even worse, because I'm his, like he sees me.
Do you want your son to bring women like you home as their wife? Do you want a daughter-in-law to be like you?
I mean, for the most part, I would say yes.
Okay. For
the most part, I mean.
So your mother-in-law loved you.
She did.
Okay.
His sister, everybody. I mean, I'm not trying to say.
Okay. I'll take it. Then why did you leave if your son loved him?
I know.
And your mom.
I agree. That's what I said.
But you said you didn't get along.
That made
but
sense in my
son. You said, but you didn't get along. How long have you guys been divorced?
Maybe 4 years now.
Where's he at?
How long I've been gone? Say it again.
Where's he right now?
Virginia.
Is he remarried?
No.
Maybe you need to go ahead and crawl across some broken glass and apologize.
You think so? He got a baby now. So I don't know. He probably already.
You should have left him. That's your penance. I mean, I'm just listening. Your sons loved him. Your family loved him. I mean, the reality is, man, you still didn't say what he did. You just said we couldn't get along and he mismanaged money.
I mean, we couldn't get along.
What?
In more ways than one. I just probably don't want. I know a lot of people on here watching, and so I can't.
But is it anything that couldn't be fixed? If he got a kid, his dick work.
Yeah, that
See,
wasn't the issue.
see,
But
that's
that's
my
not the
point.
issue with no man. A lot of men
Well,
didn't work. If that's the case, I can
my
get dick from anywhere.
point is,
Oh.
you ladies want perfection, and you're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You want situations that have no problems, and you go from something. Listen, you go from something that required work to nothing, and the next man you get with is going to require work if you're lucky enough to get one.
No, I agree.
If the God you believe in tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Look here, Miss Lady, I know you're thinking about leaving your marriage. Let me just tell you, as the creator of all the universe, I'm gonna tell you, if you leave him, that's it. You ain't getting another one."
Mm-hmm.
Would you have left?
No.
Thank you. That's what I mean. You always think you got
right.
another life. Y'all think y'all got unlimited lives, and that's the problem.
You're right.
That's all
I
that
totally
needs to be
agree.
said. And that's why I say, better call Virginia.
I totally agree.
You got a baby. Well, you could have bought a puppy. I don't know. Figure it out.
I did. He on the ground.
I know. Goddamn
I
it.
did. I definitely did.
You can't make this shit up.
Yep. I did.
Bye, girl. Later.
Bye. Good night.